Leo, your mother in heaven has a secret to reveal that will change everything, and the moment you hear it will not be by chance. If these words have found you, it is because your light, the light you were born with, has called them to you. You may not realize it yet, but you've arrived exactly at the point the universe has been guiding you toward, the place where your soul, your past, and your destiny meet in one sacred moment. Picture this: the night has fallen, the world outside is quiet, and even in the stillness of your own space, something inside you is awake. A quiet pulse. A subtle pull. That is not restlessness. That is the whisper from beyond the veil, where love knows no distance or time. And tonight, that love, the gentle yet unshakable presence of your mother in heaven, leans in and says, "It is time for you to know the secret." In astrology, the sun rules your sign, and right now, there is a rare alignment of cosmic energy forming a corridor of light that leads you directly back to the center of your own power. In the language of the law of attraction, you have been sending out a signal for clarity, for direction, for something more, and the universe has answered by bringing you here. This is not just another video. This is a divine appointment. Before we go further, I invite you to take one small but powerful action to connect more deeply with this message. Write the words "I am ready to receive the secret" in the comments below. This is not simply typing a sentence, it is you declaring to the universe that you are open to receive what has been waiting for you. Your comment becomes an energetic signature, marking this moment as the point you said yes to your own transformation. And while we are here together, I want to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude for your presence. Every time you watch, every like you give, every share, and every time you subscribe, you are not just supporting a channel, you are strengthening a circle of light that reaches far beyond these words. Your engagement allows me to bring more of these transformative messages to you and to others who are also searching for their turning point. From my heart, thank you. Leo, I need you to stay with me until the very end today, because what the universe and your mother in heaven are about to show you is nothing less than a restoration of your rightful place, your throne. You were not born to stand in the shadows of your own kingdom. You were born to rule it, to warm it, to lead it with the courage and loyalty only you possess. So let me ask you directly, what drew you here at this exact moment? Was it a quiet ache for understanding? Was it a feeling that you've been waiting for, something you couldn't name? Or was it that subtle nudge in your heart telling you that you are ready for a new chapter? Whatever it was, know this: it was not random. The universe does not work in accidents. It works in alignment. In this space, you will not be told who to become, you will be reminded of who you already are. My role is not to hand you power you don't have. It is to hold up a mirror so you can see the strength, the light, and the resilience that has been in you all along. This journey is about reclaiming what was always yours, and it begins the moment you decide you are worthy of sitting back on the throne you once stepped away from. Stay with me, Leo. The path ahead will reveal truths that will stir your heart, challenge your old beliefs, and guide you to build a life that mirrors your soul's true design. And it all begins right here, right now. So tell me in the comments, are you ready to step fully into the life you were born to live? Leo, when you start to feel that strange ripple of unease in a place you thought was completely safe, it's not always because something is wrong in the physical sense. Sometimes it's the universe tapping on the walls of your heart, checking to see if the foundation you've built is truly your own or if parts of it were shaped to please others. That sudden wave of emptiness in the middle of a life you've worked so hard to create is not a failure. it's a quiet invitation to look deeper. And when an old keepsake suddenly pulls you into a memory you thought you'd sealed away, it's rarely just nostalgia. It's a message, a thread being pulled so you can follow it back to a truth you might have left behind. Astrologically, this moment for you is a kind of structural inspection of the soul. With Saturn's grounding influence pressing against the natural fire of Leo, and Mercury stirring reflection and reevaluation, you're being asked to pause and feel the weight of your own walls. Saturn says, "Show me what will last." Mercury whispers, "Revisit your story." Together, they create a testing ground where your inner kingdom is examined for strength, not by tearing it down, but by finding the places where it might stand taller, stronger, truer. As a fire sign, your instinct is to move forward, to light up the path ahead with your brilliance. But fire, when constantly in motion, can lose its warmth if it's not anchored. These cosmic transits are asking you to bring in the earth element stability, grounding, rootedness. Think of it as tending a fire in a hearth rather than chasing sparks in the wind. In this way, your light not only shines, it endures. The imagery here is powerful. Imagine your life as a grand castle. From the outside, it stands tall, golden banners flying, admired by all who pass. But when you step inside alone, you notice the subtle cracks in the stone. Not enough to threaten the structure, but enough to make you wonder how long they've been there. These cracks are not a sign of collapse. They are the universe's way of letting you see the true load-bearing beams, the pillars that will remain even if the walls shift. They are proof that you've weathered storms, that the structure still stands, and that you now have the wisdom to fortify it better than ever. This is why these signals matter. They are not meant to scare you or make you doubt what you've built. They are meant to make you conscious of it. When the familiar suddenly feels unfamiliar, when comfort becomes slightly unsettled, it means you're growing out of an old framework. You can either patch the cracks with the same old material, or you can rebuild that section with something stronger, aligned with who you are now, not who you had to be back then. And here's the truth many miss: the discomfort you feel is not the end of something, but the beginning of a higher alignment. In astrology and energy work, these moments are called threshold points, when your outer life has to catch up with the evolution of your inner self. The unease is simply the friction of change, the push and pull between what has been and what is becoming. So the next time you feel that faint unease in your safe space, or a memory comes rushing back uninvited, pause and ask yourself, what part of my life feels like a castle built on someone else's blueprint? Which rooms are truly mine, and which ones have I kept locked because I thought I had to? The universe sends these subtle tremors not to knock you down, but to awaken you to the fact that you are ready to take the reins again. And I want you to really consider this, because it's more than a poetic metaphor, it's your reality right now. You are in a season where the smallest signs can hold the biggest revelations. That unease, that keepsake, that hollow feeling in the midst of abundance, they are all doorways. The question is whether you will walk through them. So tell me in the comments, have you felt these signs lately, and are you ready to see what they've been trying to show you? Leo, there is a certain tragedy in watching a light like yours dim itself, not because it burned out, but because it began to believe the world could only handle it in fragments. You were born to walk into a room and shift its energy, to lead without forcing, to love without fear. Yet somewhere along the way, the applause turned into murmurs, the admiration into quiet criticism, and you started to wonder if your fire was too much. In response, you began to fold yourself into smaller shapes, hiding the edges that once caught the sun so beautifully. What was once a natural glow became a carefully measured flicker, and the crown you were born with was quietly set aside in exchange for something less intimidating to others. The misunderstanding runs deep. Stability, which has always been one of your sacred gifts, was reframed in the eyes of others as something predictable, even dull. Your loyalty, the rare kind that roots itself deeply, was mislabeled as possessiveness or control. The constancy you bring, the safe harbor you offer, became a mirror some could not bear to look into, because it revealed their own inability to commit. And so, instead of defending your nature, you began to edit yourself down to fit the comfort zones of people who never intended to stay for the whole journey. In the language of tarot, this is like holding the Strength card and the sun in reverse. Strength, upright, shows a person in harmony with their inner power, gentle yet unshakable. The sun, upright, is joy without apology, radiance without condition. Reversed, they speak of disconnection from your own vitality, from the fearless joy that defines you. They point to a time when you stopped letting your heart lead at full volume, convincing yourself that muted light would be easier for everyone. Numerology tells a similar story. Your path carries the vibration of the number 1, the leader, the initiator, the one who sets the tone. It also holds the energy of the number 8, power, stability, and the ability to create a foundation that lasts. When you suppress your presence, you interrupt both of these numbers. The leader becomes the observer. The architect of stability begins to feel unsteady. And the universe, ever responsive to the frequency you emit, sends people who only resonate with this reduced version of you. Energetically, this is one of the most profound truths I can share with you. The world will meet you at the level of your own self-allowance. If you choose to dim your light, you will attract those who prefer the shadows. If you speak half your truth, you will find companions who are comfortable with half-hearted connections. And if you silence your roar, you will inevitably be surrounded by those who never expected you to roar in the first place. I want you to ask yourself, and not in passing, but deeply, with the kind of honesty that leaves no room for pretense, how many times have you chosen silence, not because you had nothing to say, but because you were afraid your words would unsettle the room? How many times have you smiled in agreement while something inside you longed to speak, to lead, to light the way? These are not small questions. They are the map back to your fullness. The journey you've taken from being the vibrant, leading presence to the careful, contained version of yourself has not been without reason. It was a form of survival. But survival is not the same as living. You can carry the lessons of discernment, the wisdom of when to hold back, without losing the essence of who you are. Your throne has been waiting, not for you to become someone else, but for you to return exactly as you were meant to be, brilliant, unafraid, and entirely yourself. And the moment you allow your light to burn at its true wattage again, the universe will answer in kind, sending people and opportunities that are built to stand in your sun without flinching. Leo, you have always been a source of light, the kind of presence that changes the atmosphere the moment you enter a room. But there have been seasons when that light became a resource others leaned on without giving anything back. One of the energies that can pull you off your natural axis is the companion who adores the warmth you radiate but does not share the weight of the world with you. They stand close enough to feel the glow, to be seen in the soft brilliance you create, but when the storms come, they step back into the shelter you built while you stand outside, braving the wind alone. Over time, this one-sided exchange leaves you feeling drained, your own reserves depleted not because you lacked strength, but because you were pouring into a vessel that was never meant to carry water alongside you. The other is more subtle, and in many ways more painful, the love that fears the very stability you offer. You build with care, with intention, with a vision for something lasting, and they look at the foundation as if it were a cage. They mislabel your consistency as control, your loyalty as limitation. In truth, they are not reacting to you, they are reacting to the mirror you hold up. Your steadiness reveals their fear of permanence, their uncertainty about whether they can stand still long enough to truly belong somewhere. And rather than admit that fear, they make your strength the problem. Through the lens of the law of attraction, these patterns are not accidents. The universe responds to the signals you send, whether those signals are conscious or not. When you begin to lower your standards even slightly to keep the peace or to avoid being alone, you broadcast a frequency of, "I will settle for less than I truly desire." And that frequency calls in those who are only prepared to meet the version of you that is playing small. They are not drawn to your fullest light, but to the softer, safer glow you allow when you think your brightness might scare someone away. The lesson here is not about closing your heart. It is about becoming fiercely selective about who is allowed into the spaces you illuminate. It is not your role to teach someone how to value a home they are not ready to live in. You can invite them in, you can open the door, but you cannot convince them to stay if their soul is still wandering toward temporary shelters. Your energy is a sacred resource, and just as you would not pour water into a cracked vessel knowing it cannot hold it, you must learn to protect your light from those who cannot walk beside it with equal courage. This is not about judgment, it is about alignment. You are meant to stand in relationships, whether friendships, partnerships, or collaborations that mirror your readiness to build. That means you deserve companions who arrive with their own bricks, their own tools, their own vision of shared creation. You are not here to hold up the entire structure alone, nor to convince someone to stop camping in the transient when they are not yet ready for a home. The moment you stop lowering your light for those who refuse to adjust their eyes, the universe will bring you those who can stand in the full brilliance of your sun without fear, without flinching, and with the will to build something that will last. Leo, at your core, you are the sun, warm, steady, and unwavering. Your love is not a fleeting spark that flares and fades, it is the constant glow that makes life possible for those around you. You shine whether or not the world applauds, and your light is not meant to be rationed or dimmed to ease another's discomfort. Stability, for you, is not a limitation but a blessing. It is the fertile soil where dreams take root, the quiet rhythm that nurtures growth long after the initial excitement has passed. The truth is, there are many who cannot recognize this gift because they have only ever known the thrill of the lightning bolt, not the life-giving warmth of the sunrise. I know this, not only because I've studied the stars, but because I've lived it. There was a time I believed that if I could just become more like them, more unpredictable, more restless, more exciting, they would stay. I muted parts of myself, laughed at things that didn't amuse me, pretended to enjoy chaos when my soul longed for harmony. And when they left anyway, the loss was not the deepest wound. The real heartbreak was waking up to the fact that I had abandoned myself in the process. That I had traded the rich, fertile garden of my own nature for a barren desert in the hope that it would make someone else comfortable. It was a turning point when I realized that self-betrayal never builds real love, it only builds shaky scaffolding that eventually collapses. And Leo, you are not here to live in makeshift shelters. You are here to stand on solid ground, under your own sun, in a home that is built from truth. This is why your return to your true axis, your solar axis, is so important. It's the moment you stop negotiating away your brilliance and start aligning everything in your life with your highest standard. In practical terms, this means setting clear boundaries without closing your heart. Boundaries are not walls to keep love out, they are the gates that ensure what comes in is worthy of the space. Keep your heart open, but let your standards stand tall. This also means caring for the vessel that carries your light. Sleep deeply, nourish your body with balanced food, give it the vitamins and minerals it needs to thrive, and move it with intention: yoga, walking, or any gentle practice that grounds you. When your body feels supported, your energy flows with more clarity and power. The same principle applies to your finances and work. Be wise with your resources. Let your money reflect your values. Invest in what sustains you, not what simply distracts you. Seek out opportunities that are built for the long term, ones that feel like planting a tree you'll enjoy the shade of for years to come, rather than chasing quick rewards that vanish as quickly as they arrive. The universe responds to this kind of intentional stability by bringing more of it into your life. This return to your axis is not a small shift, it's a sacred reclamation. You are not trying to become someone new, you are coming home to who you have always been. And when you stand there, fully in your own light, you stop attracting those who are only looking for temporary warmth. Instead, you draw in those who are strong enough to stand in the sun with you, who see your stability as the gift it truly is. This is where your real story begins again, and this time, it will be written in your language, on your terms, under your sun. Leo, the secret your mother in heaven longs for you to remember is not hidden in the stars or locked away in some far-off place. It has been with you since the moment your soul came into being. You are not meant to run toward the light, chasing it as if it were always just out of reach. You are the light. This truth is the axis of your being, and when you fully accept it, you stop exhausting yourself trying to prove your worth or to earn a place in spaces that were never built to hold you. Instead, you begin to live from the inside out, radiating with a steadiness that needs no validation. To live as the light means choosing a different kind of strength, one that is anchored in gentle discipline. It is the kind of discipline that honors your health not as a chore but as a sacred vessel for your soul's work. You feed yourself with foods that sustain rather than deplete, you allow your body to rest deeply, and you move it in ways that keep your energy flowing. You treat your time like a precious resource, allocating it to what truly matters and refusing to spend it on what drains your spirit. You steward your finances with the same care, letting your money reflect your values and support the stability that allows your light to remain steady. And you tend to your emotions with compassion, giving yourself permission to feel but not to be consumed. This is where your vow begins. It is not an oath to anyone else, it is a covenant with yourself. You choose to release what you no longer wish to carry, understanding that letting go is not loss but liberation. You affirm that you no longer have to prove your value to be loved or accepted. Your worth is not on trial. You embrace stability not as a trap, but as the fertile soil where your joy, creativity, and love can grow without fear of being uprooted. You commit to building your world around your own center, so that everything you create reflects your truth rather than someone else's expectation. And you open your heart to love that is brave enough to build beside you, a love that does not fear the depth of your roots or the strength of your structure. Small actions carry great power here. Writing down what you wish to release makes the intangible real, allowing you to see it, name it, and decide it no longer belongs to you. Creating a personal ritual, perhaps lighting a candle while you speak your intentions aloud, or standing barefoot on the earth while imagining the old energy leaving you, marks the moment when you shift the current. These simple acts send a signal to your own subconscious and to the universe that you are ready to step into the life you are claiming. The more you live from this vow, the more your outer life begins to mirror the truth you hold inside. Opportunities that once passed you by now find their way to your door. People who are aligned with your values arrive without you having to chase them. Your days take on a rhythm that feels less like survival and more like sovereignty. This is the quiet power of a Leo who has stopped chasing the light and started embodying it, the recognition that your life is not about searching for the sun, but about realizing you are the sun. And when you live that way, the right people, the right work, the right love will not just come to you, they will be drawn to you because they can see clearly in your light. And so, Leo, I want you to imagine this moment as vividly as if it were happening right now. You are standing in the quiet after the storm, the air still warm from the fire you've kept alive in your heart. Out of the silence, you feel a gentle yet certain presence behind you, your mother in heaven. She places her hand on your shoulder with a touch that carries both strength and tenderness. You hear her voice, not in your ears but in your soul, "You are ready." There is no doubt in her tone, no hesitation, only the truth she has been waiting for you to believe. And in that moment, you walk forward, sit down on the throne that has been yours since the beginning, and it feels like coming home. This is the essence of everything we've uncovered together, the recognition that your light is not here to chase the world but to warm the kingdom within you first. When your inner world is at peace, the outer world has no choice but to align. Opportunities will not need to be hunted down, they will find their way to your gates. Love will not be a gamble, it will be a meeting of equals who see each other clearly. Your path will no longer feel like a fight for survival but like the unfolding of a life that was always meant for you. But this isn't something I can simply tell you, it's something you must choose. You must decide that the old ways of dimming your light or lowering your standards have no place in the life you are building now. You must believe that stability is not a trap but the soil where your dreams can grow deep roots. You must be willing to let go of what will not walk beside you into the future you're creating. Ask yourself, right now, what is one thing you are ready to release? What would it feel like to live every day knowing you no longer have to prove your worth to anyone? Who would you become if you trusted your own light completely? I want you to take a breath and really let those questions sink in. Write your answer in the comments with the words, "I am ready," not for me, but as a declaration to the universe and to yourself. You are speaking into existence the reality you are stepping into. You are saying, "I claim my place, my power, my peace." And as you do, know that you are not alone in this choice. You are part of a community here at Eternal Mindfulness, a space built to remind you of your strength, to walk beside you as you live out the fullness of your destiny. Before we close, I want to thank you from the deepest place in my heart for being here today, for allowing yourself to listen to a message that might challenge you, inspire you, and move you toward action. Every like, every share, every subscription you give doesn't just support this channel, it strengthens the circle of light we are creating together. It allows me to continue bringing these transformative messages to you and to others who are searching for the same hope, the same clarity, the same breakthrough. Stay with this energy. Let it carry you beyond the end of this video and into the choices you make tomorrow, the week after, and every moment that follows. You have stepped onto your rightful path, and every step you take from here is a step in alignment with your truth. So tell me, Leo, are you ready to sit fully in your light, to live from your throne, to welcome in the life that has been waiting for you all along?